Welcome, ladies and gentlemen of the old world. I hope you're all doing well, and today, my friends, are back with a showdown between the Greenskins and the High Elves on one of our new Total Tavern map pack maps. It is going to be Stonehenge, which is super cool. I love it. It's a Greenskin themed map, of course, around Stonehenge, and it's going to be Grom the Paunch versus Imric. So not quite Eltharion versus Grom level of, like, lore rivalry, but still, I'm sure all the elves want to hunt down Grom anyways. So we're going to be coming in with a bunch of artillery pieces, and honestly, I think they're so good against the elves, who love to use Silverin and Lothar and Seaguard. Having these Goblin Rock Lobbers just kind of bombarding those type of units is very cost effective. Obviously, you need a little bit of skirmishing. You need something to kind of poke that big dragon character and keep your opponent honest here, so it is going to be a big core of annoying Greenskin skirmish cavalry. Aside from that, a little bit of cheeky Vanguard play. On the side, we do have the Warlords boys, and they're going to be moving up on the side point. So a little bit of a quick review of the map. You can see Objective 2 and 3 here and Objective 1, so pretty similar layout to what we see in a lot of domination maps. And then, of course, we have Stonehenge. So let's take a moment to admire the map. Just look how cool this is. I love it. I love it so much. And yeah, these new maps are great. I hope someday we can get Creative Assembly to add like a bunch of these maps to the actual multiplayer experience, like for quick battles and whatnot. I feel like people would enjoy them so much, and it would just make it such a vastly superior experience to queuing in and getting stuck on terrible maps like Silver Spire and things like that. But yeah, there's Stonehenge right there. Very, very neat map. But rest of the army, Grom the Paunch. I think Grom's viable. I think Warzag's viable. I think Grimgor can even be okay against elves. Although Imric will probably cycle charge him to death. But the thing about Grom is he's very elusive, very tough to lock down. Even if you catch him and get a bunch of burst damage, he does have self-healing and the Lucky Banner to give ward save. I really like it. Now, Buna and Spirit Leech, very good against elves. Spirit Leech against their SEMs, Buna against Dragon Princes and Elite Infantry. A couple of Orc boys just to get up on the point. And this is probably my favorite thing here, having the Haggard Warlords boys sneaking up on the side. They don't have the craziest staying power. They're not the unbreakable one, but they can definitely beat like an Elven Ranger, and maybe if I can steal the two side points, that will give me an early advantage. Obviously, my opponent here, the Great Xiphos, figures that, the engagement's going to be going down here, so I might be able to get some free points on the side. We'll have to see. Rock Lobbers will be online soon. Not really shooting at the moment. I can shoot at the Reavers. I can shoot at the infantry in the back. It looks like for Xiphos, he's got some White Lions, some Silverins, which are very, very good. Having the armor on those spears is great against trolls and other large threats. And it looks like one Bolt Thrower is going to be scooting up to try and get in range of my Rock Lobbers. Granted, it's a relatively big map, although not that big. Like, the Bolt Thrower still scoot up, almost got in range. I guess it's like probably similar in size to like Black Arc from side to side, if you really look at it. A little bit of fast forwarding as we skirmish here. Spider Riders, just evading, try not to take too much damage. Grom the Paunch kind of feeling it out a little bit. And we do see the Elves send up some Rangers. So Rangers going to be coming to the side point here. Warlords boys should win that. I think 160, I think the numbers gets it for them. Just to be safe, though, we have some nasty Skulkers coming up, so we're really going to play those side points. And I'm just going to try and keep the Elves busy here. And Greenskins do that very well. They have a lot of like cheeky Vanguard units and sneaky tactics. And, I don't like straight up fights super hard with Greenskins against like these big terror causing units. But like if you're fighting, I mean, you could go Black Orc as well. But until they nerf Dwellers below, I think Black Orcs are a little bit too risky because Dwellers is just like super meta. Imric breath attacks on Black Orcs is going to be pretty horrific. I still probably will summon one this game, but having them as like a triple Black Orc opening just feels like a bit of a liability, right? So trying to get some capture weight here. I thought I might be able to kind of wrestle it a little bit with two spears here. This is ultimately a blunder, but it does kind of bait Imric in a little bit, so we're going to get some shots on him. A Spirit Leech, Grom the Paunch is on its way in, and one of our Black Orcs is coming out. So we'll see how it goes, but probably just going to get caught by Dwellers. But we do have the double cap on the side, which is pretty big, right? So if we just keep the Elves' attention here, maybe get some Vanguard units coming up. We do get the Moon Howlers, the Arawar Wolf Riders. I figure they'll do good damage against light, and they can get there faster than Squigs. And the Jewel of Fates is upon us, the dreaded Goblin Legion, which I believe has, no, they're not poison, they have armor sundering, so it does put their armor down to 0, as if that really matters for them. But it looks like Warlords boys are winning the fight. Just the sheer numbers of the Goblins, and their damage output is no joke either, so they are able to kind of grind those guys down. As far as the mainline trading goes, we are up in value. It's not going bad. Here you can see Imric's trying to chase down some Orc Boar boys, and my basic Orc boys here just kind of absorbing shots. We do get a Fat Buna going down to the White Lines of Krace, which is quite cost effective. They're one of his better holding units here. Silver and Guard, I will Buna if I have to, but they do have spell resist of 25%, or 30%, wow. So that's not going to be great. And the Rock Lobbers in the back are really doing the lion's share of the heavy lifting. I have them all targeting against White Lions right now. But now the Elves are getting a little bit more serious on this engagement here. So we see Illyrian Reavers coming across. We see more Reavers. Nasty Skulkers just kind of chilling in the back, making sure I don't get ninja'd here. And the Moon Howlers are trying to retreat while the little Haggard Goblins are going to be left to their own devices, which is just classic stuff. It's usually how it goes anyways. Giant River Troll Hag getting hit by Sisters of Avalorn, so going to be pulling back. Black Orcs will be piling in to fight Silverin, which normally would be a very good fight. Granted, Sisters, Imric, and Dwellers below are going to be able to probably dispatch them pretty easily, and more shots coming in from the Sisters doing big damage. But Imric is getting caught in some ugly concave fire, like all these little archers, including the ROR one, the Morgrim's Magi Marauders, which do armor piercing, are able to get a lot of damage on Emmerich, so I was quite happy about that. Black Orcs on their way up, my opponent winding up his dwellers below. I would imagine his Ground the Paunch is going to be leading the charge, and now Du Bois are going to be trying to get on the objective here. Here, a big attack from Emmerich once again into the Orc War Boys. Not the worst thing in the world. Like, Orc War Boys do have decent armor piercing, so they can actually hurt Emmerich. Granted, they're not going to be getting their charge bonus. The Black Orcs are grinding here in combat, and it looks like the Lucky Banner is also active, but here comes Dwellers below, so this is basically going to just wreck my unit, and I really hope it's something. There's a couple spells that need to be nerfed. It's that, Flensing Rune, Blue Fire, I think are really the big culprits there, but you'll see the damage coming down is going to be pretty nasty, and my Black Orcs do get karate chopped, and it was cast in a very good, professional way, I suppose, where it's not going to be hitting his own units. Now, my response is going to be a bunch of angry squigs, so triple squig herds coming in. Value is favoring me. Greenskins typically do go up to a decent value lead early, but do kind of peter out a little bit as they kind of get to the later stages in the game with their leadership and vigor and all that sort of stuff. But more Daka coming down. Rock Clobber's doing great work. About 300 value on each of them, but they have a lot of ammo left to shoot. My squigs trying to find out where I want to go. Going to be sending one squig onto the bolt thrower to try and shut that down, and probably sending the other squigs here. I did manage to catch one of his cavalry units with the Nasty Skulker smoke bomb, so that felt pretty darn good. And we have double Nasty Skulker coming up, which they'll do okay against Rangers. I mean, they have pretty high stats, 38 melee attack in terms of their offensive output. So we'll see. I think with a little bit of cavalry support, maybe they'll be okay. I mean, head-to-head Rangers will win. Like both full health, both even circumstances, but they're pretty damaged now, so I'm hoping that'll be good for me. So Moonhowler's pulling back, Nasty Skulker's still trying to push through, as one Squig Herd is left to shut down the Bolt Thrower and is able to kind of lock them down and occupy a lot of the Elvish forces. This is very cost effective for me. The Squig Herd's kind of nibbling on the Bolt Thrower, and the Rangers coming in, and Reavers, like, they'll hold for a little while while going down to the valley. Granted, I didn't have too much fighting in melee, which kind of sucked, but I figured I needed to do it to try and win this fight over here, so let's get the wall going and hopefully chew through this and get that objective back, because currently Xiphos is catching up on points, 335 to 365 here, as the Haggard Skulkers still do the work. Moonhowlers do cause fear too. I mean, it's not irrelevant. An extra 5 little leadership here and there isn't bad. More and more Squig Herds on their way over. Certainly going to be the doom of these Elvish units, and I've decided to kind of reroute my whole army now, which I don't know if it was a mistake, because it kind of like gives him the idea to do the same thing. Like maybe still fighting over here and having more of a minor skirmish would be more efficient, but I just felt like it wasn't going well here. I was kind of being buckled, and the whole game plan is to get the 3 artillery pieces to just barrage this position, maneuver over here, and when the artillery can soften up what's left in the middle, I can maybe do another switcheroo there and jump on that point. So it looks like we do route the Elvish units. The Rangers and the Reavers are pushed off as the Haggard Squig Herds continue to bounce about. Value is favoring us, 6.6 to 5.3. But remember, the Elves do have healing. So Emmerich is going to be getting healed, which will kind of help a lot. Squig Herds, I sent them into the Silver Guard on purpose because I wanted to try and keep them off the objective to make sure I captured it. Granted, I probably should have pulled them back at this point. But look how effective they're actually doing. I mean, they're doing a lot of damage against these guys, which isn't bad. Xiphos on summoning Reavers. Interesting choice. Not opting to get into combat and fight with them. Granted, they could probably defeat a Squig Herd. That's why I was a little bit surprised to see the unsummon here. But the Moonhowlers, once again, battling the Reavers. 29, 29, 24. So their stats are definitely worse. They would probably objectively just lose. They are very quick. So they are a unit I like to bring just to get on top of archers or artillery pieces, and they can break them a little bit quicker. Grom the Paunch also going to be getting in on his chariot. He's loving life. He's doing great. He's feasting. Got his little hype goblin up there on the top, feeding him giant shanks of meat, but your boy Emmerich is on his way in, and Emmerich is on the hunt. We got 17 capture weight advantage on objective number 3 right now against my opponent, which is pretty wild. And the middle objective, we do have our hag up here, and you can see now I'm starting to pull a little bit of a switch. Warlords boys and Orc Boar boys on their way in. Going to be dropping a Buna on the Silverins. Again, 30% mitigation does suck, but my whole game plan was to pull a switch back and forth. And honestly, Greenskins are actually pretty good against Dark Elves for this reason. They can actually use their Squig Herds to deal with a lot of the Corsair units, and they can effectively bounce back and forth against Dark Elves and really cause a lot of problems. But right now, I am losing the capture weight here. Some Skulkers trying to hold them back, but I can't really take a straight fight wherever Emmerich goes, which is kind of the problem. Here's some pump wagons, pumping the jams here on these silver helms and also some spider riders. But yeah, like I said, I can't take straight fights against Emmerich. And here we do get some rusty arrows coming in from Vanguard Point, trying to shoot at Emmerich, but ultimately going to be overextending to their doom due to a little bit of sloppy micro on my part. And we do get the capture weight on this point. Warlords boys do sunder armor, which is quite good against Silverin. It'll put them down to like 40 armor and turn them basically into normal spearmen. So the idea is Warlords boys do their thing here. Orc War boys going to go shut down those bolt throwers, which have actually managed to take down one of my rock lobbers, which did suck. But yeah, rock lobbers have just been super huge all game. Sisters of Avalorn finally break, and the Silverin Guard are on the run from the dreaded Warlords boys, and we do shut down the artillery piece. So Valley is doing good for us, like I said, but The big terror-causing beast, always been a problem for Greenskins, and I just kind of have to run away from him. Like, he's going to kill Grom. He's going to terror out most of my units here. The Rustiers are on the run. My skirmish cavalry are also pulling back. And now, though, we're in a little bit of danger of maybe my opponent here taking my back objective, which could be very dicey. As Imric continues to help, the Haggard Pump Wagon's doing good work, about 400 value and still running through spear units and potential counters. A Dweller's Blow went down there, but that must have been a bit of a misclick because they didn't actually do anything, which I was pretty grateful for. Now, as far as Warlords boys, still fighting Silver and Guard. Orc Boar boys do have 65 armor, making them okay against Reavers, who don't have the best armor piercing. We do also have the Giant River Troll Hag here, so the Wild Hogs are being unleashed. And who was that in that movie? That was like Martin Lawrence and John Travolta. God, that was such a Haggard movie. That like encapsulates the early 2000s, I feel, or I guess like mid-early 2000s, someone like 2005, 2006, I think is when that came out. But Warlords boys, awesome. We take this objective, so the plan did work to an extent. We got this point from the Elves, but now can we handle the Elvish counterpunch? 720 to 666 in terms of value here. Elves are kind of creeping back. I'm only up by about 1,500 right now, which again can be mitigated heavily from healing. Granted, I think most of the spells happen from the Dwellers Below. The Elves, I believe, do have access to infinite winds of magic via the Starwood Staff in the Book of Hoth, so they have some of the tools that the Vampire Counts do have, but it's not quite as good because they can't just like have double Necromancer with double Forbidden Rod. It takes a lot longer to get going, and honestly is way more balanced for sure. Silver and Guard getting popped, and it looks like a really nice Earthblood going down. I do get some Spider Riders over here, just going to be sacrificing them to Reavers. This is why Reaver Cav, after their gold cost reduction, are so good. They're incredible in combat, and also a really good archery unit, so they're able to kind of crush my goblins here. But I didn't want to get flanked and have my Rustiers get wrecked, so I just kind of sacrificed them. And Nasty Skulkers against Silver is actually incredibly cost-effective for me, but with Imric nearby causing terror, it might not be so. So Rustier is going to be trying to turn about face as the dreaded Nasty Skulkers are tasked with holding back this entire legion of units. Imric does take a couple shots to the face, and some of the Cav try and get through, but they do get caught on the Skulkers. Trying to get Grom the Punch in there to encourage those little Gobbos to fight a little bit longer. Orc Boar boys trying to surround Imric, and it looks like another nice Earthblood is going to be coming down there as they do get caught in the Smoke Bomb. Now back on this side, I did summon in some Stone Trolls. The Wah trying to defend Stonehenge, but you know, I legit think this is a giant pile of turds. I'm not sure what's going on here. Definitely some very orc stuff. But as far as these units go, what do we got from my opponent? It's going to be Silver and Guard. The Dragon Horn, the Vuvuzela of your boy Imric is going to be buffing up all these guys. But still, this is very cost-effective trading on our part, and it does pull a bit of a value lead. But again, the value lead isn't quite what it is with healing taken into account. Check this out. We can see the Dragon Horn. We can see the Wah up on the top of the percentage meter. I really, really love the Spectator mod. And Spider Riders are holding these guys back, but I'm starting to lose control of this objective. And out of desperation, I do have the Pump Wagon coming in. I have the Squig Herds. I have a lot of stuff coming over here. Grom the Paunch a little bit trapped up, which is always scary when Imric's nearby. Orc Boar boys, unfortunately, trapped in combat with spears. I mean, I could run away from them, but I'm trying to hold the objective, so staying here is very important. The Rustier is doing a good job. They've probably gotten some decent value. I guess only 400 so far. But yeah, really would love to get Imric down. But the Reaver Cavalry are just so aggressive and trading so well into my different units. Definitely need some more Orc Boar boys to come over here and help. We do pop the Wah once again, just out of desperation to try and get my Squigs to fight a little bit more effectively. Nasty Skulkers and more artillery has been resummoned. So I did resummon the Hammer of Gork, and I figure I can wear down some of the Ranger numbers and maybe just hold on to this point. So as far as the score goes, it is 1,000 to 820. The Elves are sending some more White Lines of Crace here to this point, and the Silver and Guard are just being huge chads here. Very problematic, and apparently the armor isn't sundered from the Warlords boys, which is strange. Okay, now it's sundered, and the Stone Trolls and the Goblin should be able to finish them off as these Orc Boar boys and the Hag trying to survive these Sisters of Avalorn. Pretty unfortunate to let the Hag take that much damage. These Orc Boar boys really need to get back there and take those guys down. But holding on to this objective really is everything. I think objective number 1 is relatively secure. Summoning in more Rock Lobbers, which I don't know was the right choice. I felt like they could maybe apply pressure from a distance and help turn the tide of the battle, but in retrospect, maybe they take too long to do that. They're a unit you start with, but not summon later, so that could have been a blunder. Most likely was. But still very close game. Value is dead even now, guys. 14.9 to 14.7, which means I'm losing, considering the healing being taken into account. Granted, I have some of that as well with Grom as well as the Hag, but it's certainly more substantial for the Elves, healing these big dragon characters. And you can see my my force here does get broken down. Silver and Guard and all the Reaver Cavalry are able to break the back of my Gobbos here. And we're managing to hold on to this point, but Xiphos does get the double cap. And currently, as it stands, you can see he'll be winning in 5 minutes and 2 seconds, and I'll be winning in about 6 minutes. So I did realize that at this point. I also saw how things were starting to go a little bit south here. Stone Trolls, of course, doing okay, but now that White Lions are coming in and Reaver Cavalry are on their way, the Hag's on its way back, but I really don't have a lot to get there. Like, I committed so much to trying to hold the side point, and it didn't quite work out. So very, very well played. That is basically going to be a GG here as the Rock Lobbers do continue to hammer in here, but they're fully exposed. I can't really afford to protect him. I thought I might have enough time because I didn't have this mod on, obviously, so I can't see, but as I saw the third objective get captured by the Elves here, I realized that doom had come to my world, and that was pretty much it. So very well played. That was a super back and forth close game, but really the Elves did take it over in the fourth quarter with some of the engagements over here. I think a couple inefficiencies with my summoning pattern. I think summoning the artillery really lost me the momentum there on that side point. If I had had like 800 gold, 1600 gold of like, you know, orc boys and units to go fight there and like hold back the Silverins and whatnot, maybe. Here you see Grom the Punch getting hunted down, but yeah, very winnable game. I think Doom Divers might not be a bad tech either. Rock Lobbers were amazing, Orc War Boys were amazing. I feel like I feel like that was a pretty even matchup in terms of the factions, but yeah, 69 kills, that's what she said. Yeah, Rock Lobbers were good. I would even open with a fourth one. The initial Orc Boys I might just get rid of in lieu of like more skirmish cavalry, I'm not sure. Grom was okay, he's elusive. Wurzag probably still better, like just that constant army-wide buff, but yeah, he can get away from Imrik. Like, dragon characters aren't, like, super fast hunters. Pump Wagons, I felt like they were pretty good. Maybe mix in some more Pump Wagons, Rustiers. Black Orcs, I would probably cut. Honestly, that was another thing that kind of was a deficit for me. But, yeah, the value was pretty close until the end. Great game. Zyphos played like a champ. Really, really good control with his mobility, as always. One of his signature kind of styles. And that is it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. And there is your glorious Elvish victory you've all been waiting for.